All right, gather round the fire. Let me tell you a story, one that's burned a hole in my head ever since I first read it. It's not about ghosts, not about demons. It's about a guy. Just some regular guy. Tired of life, bored out of his mind, so numb he couldn't even feel anymore, until one day he did something unthinkable. He went online and he hired a hitman. On himself. At first it was all fun and games, a twisted thrill, a real-life cat-and-mouse game. But the thing about playing games like that, sometimes the game plays back. This is the day I hired a hitman on myself. And trust me, you're going to want to stay by the fire for this one. So here I am, sitting in some half-forgotten Starbucks, tucked away in the concrete veins of downtown Las Vegas. The kind of place where the hum of the espresso machine drowns out your thoughts and the baristas don't look you in the eye after sundown. I'm typing this out with the kind of quiet urgency that's hard to explain. Not because I'm scared, no. You'd be wrong to assume that. I'm not frightened. I'm free. More alive than I've ever been. Now, before this coffee goes cold and the sun dies behind the desert horizon, let me take you back. Let me explain why I, a man with nothing left to lose, hired a hitman on myself. It was 4 weeks ago. A Thursday, I think. Could have been a Tuesday. Days all blur together when you spend them dying slowly beneath fluorescent light. There I was, sitting in my beige-walled cubicle, counting pixels on a monitor that hadn't moved in 30 minutes. White dots on a dead screen. Each one a tiny reminder that I was still breathing, for now. My mind had drifted, somewhere between resignation and revelation. I found myself asking the kind of question that doesn't come with polite answers. How the hell did I get here? This wasn't life. Not the kind anyone would choose. No love, no family, no reason to come home at night except to make sure I hadn't forgotten to eat. Somewhere along the line, my story stopped being written. I was just repeating the same sentence over and over, hoping no one would notice. And then, just like that, my boss appeared behind me, a living reminder that hell wears khakis and thinks it's important. "Did you finish the paperwork?" he asked. I hadn't, but I told him I did. He smiled that smug little smile, the kind that made you wish you could unlearn language. Said he wanted it on his desk tomorrow. I nodded. But in that moment, I knew he'd never see me again. That night, something in me snapped, or maybe it woke up. I didn't want a vacation, didn't need a new car. I didn't want to run away. I wanted to burn the whole damn thing to the ground. So I went where people go when they don't want to be seen, where the light doesn't reach, where the screams are quiet and the silence is screaming back. The deep web, page after page of horror, until I found it, Cthulhu's resume. A site so clean it made the rest of the web look like graffiti. Got a problem in your life, it asked. Let our cleaners take care of it. And then it hit me, the kind of thought that doesn't whisper, it screams. What if I hired a hitman to kill me? Not out of depression, not out of grief, but because I was bored. And death, real permanent death, was finally something exciting. I imagined it. The ultimate game, a real-life manhunt. He chases me, I hunt him. Winner lives, loser doesn't. It was beautiful. I sent them a message. Said I had a problem. 3 hours later, a response. Prices, details, warnings. Once confirmed, it read, "The job cannot be stopped." Perfect. I asked for the best. Told them I wanted the one they save for nightmares. Someone who wouldn't hesitate. Someone who'd enjoy the kill. They agreed, but it would cost me more. I didn't blink. I converted 30 grand into Bitcoin. Armed myself like a one-man militia. Glock. PS-90. Barrett .50 cal. Spy gear. Cameras, voice changers, bug sweepers. Then I gave them the mark, gave them my name, told them he'd be hard to find. Always on the move, armed. They didn't flinch. Understood, they said. Cleaner dispatch tomorrow. And the next morning, I walked into that office for the last time, told my boss to go to hell, told the receptionist exactly what I'd fantasized about for the last 2 years, and then I burned it down. Not with fire, but with chaos. Ripped every file from the cabinets, erased every form I ever filed, left that building laughing. I was no longer a man in a cubicle. I was a target. And that was the first time in a long, long time I felt alive. It's been 2 hours now. This Starbucks is starting to thin out. The streetlights are flickering. I need to move. Can't stay still too long. But I'll write again. Soon. If I survive tonight, wish me luck. Or don't. The game has begun. The payment was in. The game had begun. And suddenly, the quiet stillness of my apartment didn't feel so claustrophobic anymore. It felt charged, like the air before a storm. I packed everything I'd need. A month's worth of clothes, electronics, my guns, the spy gear I'd picked up from that little hole-in-the-wall shop downtown. Toothbrush, shampoo, a photo or two I couldn't quite leave behind. I wouldn't be returning until this was over. One way or the other. Before disappearing completely, I swung by a friend's place. Guy had an old beat-up sedan for sale, something nondescript with Nevada plates still smudged with dust from the mountains. I handed him $2,000 and a smile. Told him to keep my car out back under the tarp. Didn't give him details. Didn't need to. If this Hitman agency was any good, they'd run DMV checks. They'd know what I drove. They'd track my plates, but now they'd be tracking a car that wasn't even mine anymore. He looked me over, said I should be careful, told me to take care of myself. I promised him I would, but deep down, I didn't plan on making any more promises. That night I returned to the apartment, loaded everything into the trunk and back seat, packed it with the precision of a soldier going to war, and I left him a note. Simple, childish, deliberate. Tag, you're it. Just a little hello, a reminder that this wasn't some routine contract. This was a game. I picked up a burner phone at Walmart, dismantled my old one, every chip, every piece. GPS couldn't track what no longer existed. I stopped by the spy shop once more, picked up a magnetic GPS tracker, just like the one from Breaking Bad. Compact, precise, useful when it came time to flip the hunt around. By midnight, I was parked about 3/4 of a mile from my old place. Passenger seat, hoodie on. I looked like I was waiting on a friend. Didn't want to spook the neighbors. Didn't want the cleaner to know I was already watching him. I had no intention of sleeping inside. I wasn't about to get caught snoring when the Reaper came knocking. I dozed around midnight. Woke up around 7 a.m. Stomach growling. I grabbed a couple burgers from a drive-thru, came back, parked in the exact same spot. 5 p.m. rolled in. Sunset colored the rooftops in blood orange, and I figured whoever they'd sent wouldn't strike in broad daylight. They'd wait, watch. So I passed time, read it. Memes and murder don't usually mix, but that night they kept me company. Then, 10 p.m., a black Chrysler 300, out-of-state plates, tinted windows so dark they looked like mirrors in the dark. It pulled up across from my apartment, sat there for 10 minutes, didn't move. Then it rolled off down the street. My pulse kicked into gear, the kind of thrill you only get once you realize the devil's real and he just checked your mailbox. I slept maybe 2 hours that night. Too excited, too wired. Around 3:30 I woke up and checked the block. 4 a.m., there it was again. Same black Chrysler, same spot. This time the lights went out, and a man stepped out. He was big, built like a fridge wrapped in a suit, 6 feet tall, easy, wider than me by a long shot. He looked clean, sharp, professional, stereotypical as hell. I couldn't help it. I smiled. Biggest grin I've worn since college. Felt like I was 10 seconds away from being dragged into a Jason Bourne movie. He crossed the street, walked up to my apartment, reached into his pocket, pulled out a bump key, tapped it with a little silver brick, probably spring-loaded. The lock gave. He slipped inside. 30 seconds later, I had the binoculars up, zoomed in, focused, jotted down the plates, black on white. Clear as day. 5 minutes passed. He came out, slipped something into his pocket. His gun, probably. In the other hand, crumpled paper. He tossed it into the gutter, got into the Chrysler, and disappeared down the street. An hour later, I walked up to the gutter. Sure enough, tag, you're it. Still crumpled, still there. I laughed. Loud. Hard. The kind of laugh that cracks a rib from the inside out. This was going to be fun. I tried to sleep again. Got maybe 3 more hours. Woke up around 8 a.m. and drove straight to another friend's place. He worked at the DMV, and he owed me. He wasn't home, so I found him at work. Waited until he was between customers, then slid the plate number across the counter. He looked at it, looked at me. "What's this?" he asked. "Don't ask questions," I said. "I need the info. This guy's trying to kill me." He laughed, until I handed him $200. His smile disappeared. Eyes went cold. Then he muttered, "Fuck, man," took the money, typed for a minute, came back with 3 sheets of paper. This is everything I could get. I looked him in the eyes, told him not to speak a word, not to his wife, not to anyone. He nodded, said he understood. Then as I turned to leave, he stopped me. "Take care of yourself, man, and be careful." I read the papers in the car. His name, I won't say it here. Call him Mike. Age 35. Arizona plates. Black Chrysler 300. Exactly as expected. And now I had a name, an address, a pulse. He wasn't a ghost anymore. I returned to the neighborhood. Parked farther out this time. 1 p.m. I waited. And at 2, on the dot, that same black car pulled up. 2 blocks away, just close enough to see the apartment, just far enough to feel safe. I was a mile away, watching him. And he had no idea. The hunter was being hunted, and the game was only just beginning. So there I was, back near the old apartment, watching the hunter watch me. Mike, that Chrysler 300 of his sat parked like a sleeping predator, still, but ready to pounce. His tinted windows reflecting the world around them, but never letting you see inside. I'd had enough of being still, enough of waiting. It was time to move, time to test the waters, poke the bear, see what kind of game my new friend was really playing. I drove a few miles out to a crusty old Motel 6, the kind of place where the lights flicker and the ice machine hasn't worked since Clinton was president. Inside, an older man worked the front desk, friendly, tired, didn't ask too many questions. Perfect. I booked a room with my debit card, and then handed him an envelope. "If a man in a suit comes in," I said, "about my height, give this to him." He hesitated, until I peeled a crisp 100 from my wallet. "Oh, sure, sir, of course." His smile said it all. Everyone has a price. Then I drove 5 more miles. Another Motel 6, different desk clerk, same transaction, another envelope, another $100 smile. And finally, I crossed the street to a nicer motel. Booked a room with cash. 2nd floor, direct line of sight to the second Motel 6's front desk. You might be wondering, why 3 rooms? Why the envelopes? Because I needed answers. 1, to see if they were tracking my bank account. 2, to see how long it would take Mike to chase the wrong scent. And the envelopes? Each a little present. One said, "Try again." The other, "So close yet so far away." Let the games begin. I took a long hot shower, scrubbed off the sweat, the dust, the scent of adrenaline. Then I set up one of the hidden cameras from the spy shop, angled perfectly at the Motel 6 entrance across the street. Then I waited, and wouldn't you know it, 2 hours later, the Chrysler arrived, just sat there. The hunter had taken the bait. And then I saw opportunity. That perfect heart-pounding opportunity. I had the GPS tracker in my pocket, but getting close to that car meant one of 2 things. Getting shot, so I scanned the lot. Found salvation in the form of 3 teenage boys on bikes. I threw on a ball cap, kept my face turned and headed downstairs. Waved a $100 bill in the air like a fishing lure. The kids bit, of course they did. I gave them the tracker, told them the plan. Ride behind the car. One of you fools, stick it under the bumper. They laughed, like it was some dumb prank. But before they could take off with my gear and my money, I held the bill tight, looked each one in the eye, and I lied. "If you run off with that," I said, "if you screw me, I will find you, and I'll kill you. You, your friends, your families." Their smiles vanished. Eyes went wide. They nodded, trembling just enough to believe me. I let go of the bill. "Good boys," I said. "Now run along." Back in my room, I watched. Mike stepped out of his car. Same suit, same stride. Crossed the lot, entered the motel. Moments later, the kids. One fell. The other 2 circled like flies. And just like that, the tracker was in place. Mike came out, opened the envelope, read the message, crumpled it, tossed it, then pulled out his phone. Made a call, probably reporting in. He left. And I smiled. Big, toothy, uncontrollable smile. Like I'd just won the lottery. The red dot on my laptop started to drift away. Farther and farther. An hour later, I followed the trail. Wanted to find his base of operations. I parked half a mile from where the signal stopped, a parking lot beside a rundown Mexican restaurant. But his car was gone. I approached. At the front door, a manila envelope. It was addressed to me. Inside, my GPS tracker. And a note. "Tag, now you're it." The smile vanished. Crack! A hole tore into the pillar beside my head. Crack! Another in the wall behind me. My instincts took over. I dove, heart racing. Where was the sound? Suppressor. Of course. Goddamn professional. I pulled my 9mm, peeked out. Nothing. Couldn't see him. I ran, through the restaurant, through the kitchen, cooks shouting behind me in Spanish, out the back door, into the alley. A shot whizzed past, tearing my shirt. I ducked behind a dumpster, chambered around, fired 2 blind shots. Loud. Way too loud. He had the advantage. Quiet and invisible. I needed out. Cops would be here soon. I bolted. Another shot cracked the corner wall as I turned. Missed me by inches. I didn't look back. Just ran. Got in my car. Took off. Saw him. Mike, rounding the corner behind me. Looking. Searching. He was fast. Too fast for a man in a suit. I hit a red light. He got closer. Only a single car between us. Come on, come on, come on. The light turned. I gunned it. And once again, I lived. And God help me, I laughed. I howled with laughter. I'd never felt more alive. Back at the motel, I laid on the bed, replaying every second, every mistake, every near-death thrill. I had underestimated him. He'd either seen the tracker get planted or had a detector like mine. Smart, silent, deadly. This man was not to be toyed with, and I was loving it. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. 480 area code. I answered. "Well, hello there," a voice said. "You left so soon, we didn't even get to play." I knew who it was. I played dumb. "Who is this?" "Don't worry about who I am. It's yourself you should be worried about." I chuckled. "Oh, Mike, come on now. I don't How do you know my name?" he snapped. "You shouldn't interrupt people, Mike. It's rude. As I was saying, I don't think I need to worry much. I'm it now. So I'll be seeing you soon." Silence. Just the hum of his engine in the background. Then, "You'll be seeing me sooner than you think." Click. I didn't wait. I wrote down the number, grabbed my gear, and got the hell out. Threw the phone out the window. As I pulled away, I saw it. The Chrysler. Pulling into the motel lot I had just left. Too close. Too goddamn close. Now I'm here, at the Blind Tiger. Some dive bar buried between pawn shops and strip clubs. Typing this out. Because if I don't make it to tomorrow, someone should know what happened. But me? I'm not scared. Not even close. This is the greatest game I've ever played. And next time, it's going to be on my terms. Mike had pulled in barely moments after I pulled out. If I'd taken even 5 more minutes to shower, or stared too long at my own reflection in that dusty bathroom mirror, he would have found me. Maybe he would have killed me. Maybe he was just there to watch. Hell, maybe he wanted me to see him coming. "You'll be seeing me sooner than you think." That's what he said. And yet somehow, I was always 1 step ahead. Still alive. Still in the game. I checked into the next hotel like a man trying to disappear. Paid cash, checked corners, stuck to shadows. The moment I was behind a locked door, I stripped down, turned on the water, and let the hot spray wash the paranoia off my skin. And there I was, singing that dumb Iggy Azalea track, shaking my ass in a shitty motel bathroom like nothing was wrong. Call it stress relief, call it temporary insanity. Whatever it was, it worked. After the shower, I collapsed on the bed and passed out hard. When I woke, the sun was low. That meant it was time to move again. I stopped by Walmart, picked up a new burner phone, a few cans of Cheese Whiz, other parts for homemade suppressors. Yeah, I said suppressors, not silencers. Happy now, gun nerds? Walking the aisles, I watched the parade of scooters glide by, half-asleep Americans balancing frozen dinners on their laps like trophies. And I started wondering, how the fuck did Mike get my number? And then it hit me like a bullet between the eyes. My first burner phone, I paid for it with my debit card. Goddamn idiot. I checked the theory when I got back. Turns out, yeah, if you know how, you can pull ESN MEI'd info from a retail purchase. It's a long process, but clearly Mike wasn't short on resources. I spent the rest of the day building the suppressors. Messy work, smelled like synthetic death and fake cheese, but they worked. Quiet, efficient, deadly. One for the 9mm, one for the P90. Now I was ready. I wanted to test him, see what Mike could do when he wasn't holding the leash. So I vanished. No phone pings, no card swipes, no trace. A day passed, then another, then 3 more. 3 different hotels, 3 long nights, and no sign of Mike. I wasn't being hunted, not actively. That told me everything I needed to know. He could only find me if I left breadcrumbs. Perfect. It was time to return the favor. I set the board, drew the bait. On the far northwest edge of Las Vegas, I found a quiet spot. Bank on one side, open desert on the other, sparse boulders, Joshua trees standing like sentinels. I scouted the place, and that's when I saw it. An old ATV sitting in a suburban driveway. I rang the doorbell. A man answered, arm around a little girl clinging to his leg. Friendly, worn, happy. He told me $1,500 for the Yamaha. Said he needed the money. New baby, less time, less energy. I guess my days of fun are on hold, he laughed. I laughed too, but part of me envied him. That life, that simplicity, that normalcy. It wasn't my world anymore. I handed him the cash, said I'd park my car at the nearby park and return for the ATV. He nodded, said he'd wait. But I ran. Back to his house, jumped on the ATV, gone in 60 seconds. I didn't want him involved, didn't want Mike to hurt them. Back at the park, I loaded my gear. Suppressors, 9mm P90, paper targets just in case Johnny Law came sniffing. Then I hit the desert, found a nice spot about 500 yards from the bank. Nestled between two large boulders, perfect line of sight, distant, safe. I took a few test shots with both suppressors. Whisper quiet, effective. Then I waited, masked up, scoped in, watching. Time passed slow, people came and went, but no Mike. Not yet. Then, just after 11 p.m., his car pulled in. No plates this time. He circled the bank, then parked, got out, something in his hand, wires, tools. He approached the ATM, turned his back. I flipped the safety off, let out a breath. Boom. Center mass. Dropped him, or so I thought. He moved, dove behind his car, pulled a gun. How the hell is he moving? I aimed low. Tires. Boom. Rear right, gone. Boom. Rear left, gone. He was trapped. He popped up, 2 shots. But he couldn't see me. Not in this darkness. I had the high ground. I had cover. I had the advantage. For the first time, he was the one running, and I was the one smiling. So there I was, still perched on top that boulder, moonlight slicing through the desert air like a cold knife, and my scope trained on Mike's back while he stood at the ATM. What I didn't mention last time, and I probably should have, was the mask. Yeah, he was wearing one. Black, smooth, featureless. But I knew that silhouette, knew that suit, knew that build. It was him. Mike. I took the shot. He dropped, right into the machine. Then, things got weird. Instead of staying down, he scrambled across the asphalt and dove through the passenger side window of his Chrysler. What the hell was he doing? The back tires were gone. I saw to that. There was nowhere to go, or so I thought. Then the car screeched. The metal rims sparked against pavement, sounding like a dragon being dragged through hell. He flipped it around. Headlights hit me like twin suns. And then he gunned it, straight at me. I fired again, 3 times. But nothing. The rounds didn't punch through. Bulletproof, of course. Some kind of armor glass, light grade, enough to stop handgun fire. The desert crunched beneath the tires. He was coming, fast. Then, maybe 100 yards out, he bailed. Dove out the door and hit the dirt hard. I took a shot, missed. My heart was sprinting now. I leapt off the boulder and landed next to the ATV, scrambled to grab my P90, and then, boom. A flash like the sky caught fire. His car, a fireball, engulfed, exploded, gone. He'd rigged it to blow, just in case, a failsafe. Jesus. I fired up the ATV and tore around the boulder, searching with my Glock drawn. But Mike was gone, vanished into that pitch-black desert like a ghost in a tailored suit. I raced across the street, straight to the ATM. The weird device with wires still stuck inside. He must have forgotten it. I yanked it loose, stuffed it in my pocket, and burned rubber out of there. Still scanning the desert, still searching for Mike. Nothing. He'd disappeared again. Back at my car, sirens in the distance. More by the second. I couldn't leave the ATV out in the open. Not with my prints on it. I found some bushes along the park's edge, wiped the handlebars with wet wipes from my backpack, and hid it. Then I ran. Hard. Jumped into my car and drove like the devil was in my rear view. Sirens everywhere. Red and blue spiders crawling over the city skyline, but I was gone. I got back to the hotel and slammed the door behind me. Angry, tired, alive. The device? It was still in my hand. Cold, heavy, sinister. I jumped onto the darknet, did some digging. Turns out the damn thing was a money skimmer, an advanced hacking device for ATM machines. He was draining my account, slowly, day by day, thousands at a time, bankrupting me, bleeding me dry. Mike, you son of a bitch. You weren't just hunting me, you were crippling me. That pissed me off more than any bullet ever could. I passed out, finally. First good sleep I'd had in days. When I woke, it was already 10 a.m., sun bleeding through the blinds. Room quiet, too quiet. Then, a knock. My heart stopped. A keycard slid in, the handle jiggled. I dove to the floor, Glock in hand, chambered around. The door caught on the chain lock. Thank God. Then a voice. Housekeeping. A little Mexican woman peeked through the crack, eyes wide when she saw me crouched with the gun. I stammered out, "No thank you. Come back later." She nodded and shuffled off. I collapsed on the bed, ran my hands through my hair. My body was wearing down. Every muscle throbbed, every nerve screamed. I showered again, ordered food, moved to a new hotel. I spent the next 3 days laying low, letting my nerves stitch themselves back together. And then it hit me. It's time. Time to end this, but I needed space. Focus. So I went down to the Flamingo, played some poker, cleared my mind, won some, cashed out, started walking the strip. The crowd, the lights, the noise, it drowned everything out. For once I didn't feel like prey. And that's when I saw him. Mike, plain as day, walking with the crowd. Face calm, body relaxed, like he wasn't being hunted. Like he was just another tourist. He hadn't seen me. I trailed him. Cap low, eyes sharp. He went to the Aria. I followed, watched him disappear up the elevator. Then I approached the front desk, spun a story. Lost my buddy, needed to check his room. The clerk asked for his name. I gave it, and she gave me the room number. Just like that. I drove back to my motel, heart pounding, smiling wide, taped the ATM skimmer and a note into a manila envelope. Red Rock Canyon, 6 p.m., 2 days from now, scenic loop drive to White Rock Mountain Road. Keep driving until the road turns to dirt. Keep going, you'll see an old car. I'll be waiting. You're it. Wrote Mike on the front, ran back to the Aria, elevator up, quiet hallway, stuck the envelope to his door and left without a sound. Now, I'm back in the motel, cleaning my Barrett 50 cal like it's my firstborn child, barrel to butt, smooth, precise. This time, there won't be any mistakes. Next time is the final round. I don't know who's walking away from this, but I know one of us isn't. I finished cleaning the Barrett, wiped it down with the care of a surgeon prepping for his last operation, each part reassembled with reverence, each motion final. I wasn't just cleaning a rifle, I was preparing a farewell. Only, I didn't yet know if it would be his or mine. I hit up Walmart, picked up the essentials, not for survival but for a waiting game that might stretch for days. Propane tanks, 10 of them, gasoline. Jack Daniels, my only real friend left. Odds and ends, rations, little distractions, things to keep me grounded. Because when Mike comes, he comes with the patience of death itself. And death, I've learned, doesn't rush. I filled the gas containers at a quiet corner station under the glow of flickering fluorescent lights. Then I drove, up to Red Rock Canyon, to the trap. The place I'd chosen 2 days earlier when I left that final note on his door. I knew he'd come early to scout. It's what I would have done. Study the terrain, check the wind, find the high ground, plan the kill. Only problem for him was I already had. I knew this place, the brush, the boulders, the desert silence that screams in your ears when the sun goes down. I'd hiked here alone for years. No distractions, just my boots on red dust and the wind in the canyons. Mike didn't have that luxury. He didn't know the landscape. But I did. Every crevice, every echo. So I made my move. Set my car just past the ambush zone to bait him into thinking I'd camp there. But I took the long way up to the hidden plateau with a panoramic view and 3 perfect perches. I settled in around 11 p.m. No phone, no service. Just me, the rifle, and the desert. The world shrunk to sand, stone, and silence. Time slowed, reality thinned. Midnight came and went. Jack kept me warm. Old comics and dog-eared books kept me sane. Then 2:45 a.m. Headlights, far off, dust trailing behind them like a ghost trying to keep up. A blue Toyota RAV4 with rental stickers on the window. Tourists? No way. Not here, not at this hour, not this deep into nowhere. He's here. He stepped out. Same size, same posture. Only this time, armored up. AR-style rifle in his grip, loaded with every mod you could imagine. He looked like Rambo if Rambo took contract work on the side. I waited, watched, aimed, held my breath. Boom! I missed. Fucking idiot. I forgot to recalibrate the scope after cleaning. He ducked behind a boulder and I repositioned, shifted to a second perch, checked wind, distance, angle. Then I saw him again, peeking out, cautious, sharp. Boom! The round hit his leg, his knee. His body spun like a ragdoll. Blood misted the rock behind him. His gun clattered to the ground. I put 3 more rounds into it, neutralized the threat. Then I moved. I found him crawling, eyes wide, confused. A man caught between pain and awe. How the fuck did I hit him? I tied a tourniquet, Pulled his pistol, his old 9mm with the same suppressor he once tried to kill me with. Poetic. Then I jabbed him with an EpiPen. Cruel, maybe, but I wanted him awake. I dragged him to the RAV4, sat him upright, offered him the jack. He drank. God, did he drink? We drove, 45 minutes into the back roads of Mount Charleston, winding black silence. Then we reached it. A sharp curve with nothing between the edge and a 1,000-foot drop but a rusty rail and gravity's cruel promise. I poured gas across the interior. Propane tank stacked behind him. He didn't fight, didn't scream, just watched the sky through the cracked windshield. Then I asked, fast and clean or long and horrible? He smiled, held up the bottle. Fast, but let me finish this first. He downed it, every drop, then looked at me and said, I definitely don't want to die just yet, but you sure set up one hell of a fucking game for yourself. He knew I hired him from the very beginning. That first note, tag, you're it. He knew, he grinned, nodded. Do it, make it quick and clean. Light this fucking thing and get the fuck out of the area. He was a good sport. I gave him that. Boom, one round, one temple, done. I lit the gas, kicked the car into drive, the wheels spun. The RAV4 launched forward, veered a little, but it didn't matter. The cliff did the rest. I walked away. The explosion didn't come right away, but when it did, it shook the mountain. One tank after another, then 5 at once, a light show only death could orchestrate. That should have been the end, but it wasn't. That was 6 days ago, and since then, something else has started. The game didn't end. It changed. The headache started first. Ice-pick migraines. Hours long. Nothing helps. Then, the crash. That woman. That face I recognized but couldn't place. That cop with the grin like a wolf in a badge. He knew. He knew. He quoted the very place I dumped Mike's body. The exact location. And then the laptop. My lifeline. Taken over. Infected. Command line typed on its own. We are watching. We are everywhere. They're still out there. The organization. The ones I hired. The ones he worked for. Now I don't know who to trust. Not the cops. Not strangers. Not even the woman I saved. Everything's been thrown into the air, and I don't know where the pieces will fall. So here it is. The final entry. Unless there's more, maybe there will be. But for now, I'm going dark. Updates will be rare, if at all. If you never hear from me again, well, you've already read the story. Just remember, the game doesn't end when the player dies. You know, at some point, the line between the game and reality got blurry. It wasn't when I pulled the trigger. Wasn't even when Mike's body dropped like dead weight into the passenger's seat. Not when the fire danced in the canyon, not even when the last propane tank screamed into the void. No, I think it was that moment. Standing there in that hotel room, watching a black-suited man across the street just watching me. Expressionless. Motionless, phone in hand. I should have run, should have left Vegas, but what good would that have done? They weren't chasing me, not anymore. They were closing in, from all sides. The organization I'd once paid to end myself was now finishing what I started. Only they weren't in a hurry. When I took my old hard drive to my buddy, I didn't say much. He didn't ask. Transferred my files, checked for bugs, set up my new system. He was a good friend. Too good to know the truth. Too good to get caught in it. He told me everything checked out, but I knew the silence in my system wasn't security. It was just the calm before something worse. I switched hotels. Backtracked, watched for tails, bug sweep, clear. And yet, there he was again. Another man in another suit. Watching. Just watching. Why haven't they killed me? That question spins in my head like a broken vinyl, over and over, endlessly skipping. And then came the message. We need to talk. Sunset Park. Tomorrow, PM, southeast corner, come alone. If you pull anything, you will be shot. Don't be stupid. I stared at the screen. Didn't flinch, didn't move. Because what's left when you've already died inside? What's left to fear when hell already punched your ticket? I closed the laptop, lit a cigarette, turned on some music I hadn't listened to in years. Then I remembered a story, a dream, a glimpse of the after. And I'm going to leave it with you. Because it's the only thing that's ever made sense since this whole thing started. It's not mine. But damn if it doesn't feel like it is. The greatest trick I ever pulled was convincing the world there was an alternative. You mean there is no God? And then he laughed. Not like a man. Not even like a monster. He laughed like someone who knew that there never was a finish line, just a longer game, with deeper rules. I'll go to Sunset Park, I'll meet them, and maybe they'll end it. Or maybe I'll find out that Mike was only the first level, and now I've qualified for something worse. But if you never hear from me again, if these posts stop, if this trail ends here, just know this. I had my fun, I made my choice, and if I had to do it all again, I'd still leave that note. Tag, you're it. Good night, no sleep, and stay fucking classy.